Well, today's video is going to be a doozy. We have got two things. Harry's latest court case where he states that he was forced out of the royal family. And then on top of that, we've also got Meghan's first episode of her podcast. And, well, yeah, I have a lot to say about those two things. So my name is Ems, I'm a qualified UK therapist, and I use my over 20 years experience in this field where I hopefully give you the tips and tools that I've learned along the way to give you a better understanding in the world of behaviour, body language, and not just what's being said, but what's not being said, reading between the lines. To do that, I use celebrity behaviour, and at the moment it is mainly Harry and Meghan because, well, that seems to be what everyone wants to talk about. So if this is the style of video for you, then think about subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already, why not? Because, well, it's free and it also shows YouTube that I'm a channel worth keeping. So if you're relying on the truth and not clickbait media, this could be the channel for you. Don't forget to also like the video if you've really enjoyed it because, well, that also helps too. That being said, grab your cuppa, sit back, relax as we get into this video. So hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for all the people that have stuck with me so far, the wonderful messages and comments that I have been receiving in regards to what has been going on for me in my personal life. I really do appreciate all of you, and for the people that have come along and started joining recently, thank you, and I hope you enjoy this content. So I understand that a lot of you are sick and tired of these two, and believe you me, so am I. However, I do feel, because I see in the comments, why are you talking about them? Why? Just ignore them. If you ignore them, they will go away. No, they won't, especially Meghan. The reason channels like these are important is because for the most part, we are bringing you the truth. We are breaking down what is being said in the mainstream media, the lies that are being orchestrated in the mainstream media, because now celebrities can just buy positive media coverage. There is no longer the truth. So we rely on podcasters, YouTubers, etc., who want to delve a little bit further. And so it's important that these channels are kept going. So that being said, let's get into what you are all here for. The two things that have cropped up in the fact that Harry was ushered out of the courtroom due to security issues. I mean, you couldn't make this up, could you? The timing, how convenient. But there's more to this than meets the eye. And like I say, I will discuss that over on my Bitesize Tea channel. There is definitely more to this than meets the eye. And I do believe that was set up purposely. But the biggest thing as well, of course, is Harry stating that he was forced out of the royal family. It's sort of true, but it's not true. And remember, this is how Harry will perceive this. So I don't believe that he was forced out of the royal family. I believe he was given a choice. I do feel, however, that Meghan was removed. And so, like I say, I will be discussing that over on my Bitesize Tea channel. It's only because this video is going to be long enough. We're talking about Meghan's podcast. If I do have time, I might talk a little bit more about Harry at the end, but we're going to see how that goes. So keep an eye out for the video. If you want the link to the channel, go to the end and you will see a round circle. There's a little caricature of me and Arthur. Click on that and that will take you to Bitesize Tea. So the main one is Meghan. So Meghan's podcast has dropped. And this woman is tenacious. You know, she absolutely is. I mean, when Spotify released Archetypes, it was the same type of thing where when it first dropped, viewing wise, it seemed that it does very well. And this is not any different to, say, her cooking show, the Mock-You series that they did, because unfortunately, and I know that people name it hate viewing, but I don't necessarily feel that it is. I know that people watch because they're curious, I know I'm sure a lot of people feel they do hate Meghan, but I think a lot of the people that really, really do didn't particularly watch her cookery show. The people that view it are, like I say, are people that are tending to report on it, like people like myself, albeit that I don't watch it. I find other ways to get the information that I need, and it doesn't give her the view. Same as I don't follow her on Instagram. I didn't feel the need to buy her jam. I do not. That is something I'm not quite sure why people would do that. I mean, I don't need to review her jam to see, because there's going to be plenty of people that review her jam. Why on earth would you go onto her site, give your details, buy her product that gives her money to create her delusion of that she's successful, so you can review a jam that you're going to probably end up saying that you don't like anyway? That doesn't make sense to me, but each to their own. And so that's why I say I don't follow her on Instagram. I nothing, because you can see her content in other places, because sure as eggs, people will post it. So there's ways to find it without giving her the view. So we know that this is her coming on Instagram, etc., is, in my opinion, a way to constantly be in the media. And so when she did her archetypes, this was the same type of thing. People listened to it or watched it or whatever due to, they wanted to see what she said to critique it, to say, well, you know, this is what she's doing, this is a lie, etc., because this is what people are discussing right now. So the fact that it's come out that she's done really, and this is what frustrates me with the mainstream media, is that they just do the surface stuff. It's like, oh yeah, she's got the views, so this must mean that she's really successful. Archetypes did the same thing, but it doesn't mean that it's a success, because as we've seen, the reviews are coming in and they're awful. And this is not just British, this is American as well, Australian. It has been slammed everywhere. This woman just will not realise, because her ego is so huge, that anything that she does is going to be critiqued. And it's usually going to come out with a negative critique, because she's not authentic. She is not genuine. She lies. And this is another example of her doing this. She states that this podcast was supposed to be having female entrepreneurs on, business owners that have been very successful, discussing their highs, their lows, how they become successful, what did they struggle with. And it's not. And I'm not surprised about that, because I knew exactly what was going to be happening. This was going to be Meghan talking about herself, because Meghan loves to talk about herself. And so she will find any platform possible to do that. And also, in my opinion, this is going to be picking the brains of people where she can kind of go, ooh, that's a good idea, I'm going to take that, like she tried to, in my opinion, with Flamingo Estate. The link to that will be at the end of this video, so make sure that you click on that. So here she has this podcast, and she has sat down with this lady. Her name is Whitney, and she is the creator of Bumble, a dating site. And instead of sitting there and listening to what Whitney has to say, asking her important questions, like such as, you know, how did you get started? You know, what were your highs? What were your lows? You know, and letting Whitney talk about her experience. Oh, no. I believe that I think there's nearly 10 minutes or so before Whitney even gets a word in. And then when she does, she talks for just over a minute before Meghan interrupts and brings it back to herself again. But the biggest issue for me is that Whitney talks about having preeclampsia. Now, preeclampsia is incredibly serious. And I know this as well, because I suffered with this with my second child, with Tristan. I was told that now I can't fully remember, because I know is it preeclampsia is before it becomes eclampsia. Eclampsia is the one where it's like, okay, this is really serious now. Is it preeclampsia, or is the other way round? and there's proteins in your urine, and this can be incredibly dangerous for the fetus. I was going into being overdue, so I was ready to drop, but Tristan was just stubborn, didn't want to come out, loved it too much in there, it was too cozy. So I was taken into hospital and I was monitored. I was there for 2 weeks, to the point where in the end they had to burst my waters and induce me because it was going on too long, and there was quite a serious it could have become quite serious. So she briefly touches on this, and what does Meghan do? Rather than sit and listen to this woman's lived experience and talk about how this was for her and how scary this was for her, Meghan says she suffered it. And when I saw this coming out in the news, I just was like, I am so frustrated with the mainstream media where they do not call her out. And in my opinion, this again shows how she does what Harry is doing to his father. Harry, by turning up to his court case, knew this would be in the mainstream media, knew that his father is over in Italy with the Queen right now. And so it is a unwritten rule where the royal family do not do anything to monopolise what is happening in the mainstream media. So Harry knew what he was doing. He knew that would become in the media, but Meghan is doing the same. And I'm going to get into the lie in a minute. But she knew by saying this, that this was going to get into the mainstream media. And what does it do? It then starts to monopolise what is kind of going on for Harry. Now, not in all fairness, not that I particularly care, because Harry is doing the same thing to his father. And I think that this is just pathetic and childish. But it shows the level of maturity that those two have. But it also shows the level of narcissism, especially in Meghan, because this is something that she didn't need to talk about. But also because it's not true. And I don't even think I even want to say allegedly, even though I know I need to say allegedly, because for reasons, I do not believe this is true, because given Meghan's level of narcissism, we would have heard about this. Not only that, she would not have been released from hospital after 2 hours and allowed to go home. She would have been kept in and monitored. So she states that she had postpartum preeclampsia. Now, the fact is as well, again, this takes away from the story, and this is classic narcissism where you take the story of someone else, or you've had something worse happen to you. She needs the attention to be back on her, because if this was just her listening to what Whitney has said, then the chances are Whitney would have been in the news. Maybe not as much, but it would have been Meghan's guest on her podcast suffers with a serious condition, preeclampsia, and it would have been about her. It wouldn't have been about Meghan. So Meghan can't have that. Oh, no. Meghan cannot have the fact that someone else is going to get attention in this podcast. So straight away, she then says, I suffered with that too. And like I say, this would have been mentioned in Harry's book. You've got to remember, this is when Harry was also, because doesn't she say that, I can't recall because I didn't obviously watch it. This is what I've heard and from the snippets that I've heard. But that it was, she doesn't say whether it was with Archie or Lily, but either way, I think it was, I don't know. I'm only going to be guessing, and I don't want to do that. So, but even if it was with, say, Archie, well, firstly, in my opinion, she wasn't pregnant with Archie, so I'm not quite sure how she managed to have preeclampsia, postpartum preeclampsia, but also because we saw her walking out, there was this child. So if you're even going to look at the fact that this is real and this really happened, then you know, she's just given birth, apparently, and she then walks out wearing white. Not sure who does that. But apparently, yeah, she's got, she had preeclampsia. It's never been mentioned by anyone, ever. And this would have been, because she would, again, have got attention for this. Oh, look, I'm a victim. And it's like, this woman has had everything happen to her. And it's all to be, look at me, I'm a victim. And it's not just that, it's like, look at what a survivor I am. I'm so amazing, I'm so strong. And of course, what happened? This poor woman, Whitney, took it away from her experience and so started then puffing up Meghan. Oh, I don't know how you coped. I don't know how you managed to walk out there in front of all those people. And so it must have been with Archie then, because she talks about walking out in front of all those people, which she didn't do with Lily, because, well, again, Lily, she wasn't pregnant with Lily, in my opinion, allegedly. And of course, Meghan's just like, oh, people just don't understand what goes on behind when you're there showing up for the world and everyone I'm just like, oh, for goodness sake. It's just like, need a drink. Oh, by the way, side note, I'm drinking this. It's healthy, actually. It's got red berries, Sarawak, and it's called G-Spot. I mean, it doesn't do that, but it's actually from Gillian Anderson, Scully from X-Files, and it's a sparkling drink, and it's healthy. It's got microbiotics in it and everything, and it's very good, and it does give you a bit of an energy boost. And this is not a commission thing. This is I bought this with my own money, but I'm just recommending it because it is yeah, it's very nice. It's very, and there's a few others. I'll put the link in my description box for anyone who's interested in this. But if they want sort of a drink that's got that gives them a bit of an energy boost, but is healthy, it's not got all the caffeine and stuff in it. So yeah. Anyway, side note. So yeah. So the fact is that this is what she is doing. And this is what her podcast is going to be now. And I just, again, am so frustrated that this woman is being allowed to do this, because this was about Whitney. It should have been about Whitney. This is supposed to be about her guest. When you have a guest on your show, yes, there's conversation. For example, like when I have guests, you allow them to talk. Of course, you respond back, but you don't then make it all about yourself. So the guest is almost like not able to say anything. I have never ever had a situation where I've had someone on and I just talk and talk and talk and talk and don't allow them to talk about their experience. What's the point of having a guest on your show if you're not allowing them to talk about their experience? Now, I even get the ones that have like a two-way thing, like you chat as if you're just friends. I even get that. But again, it is more about the guest that you have on and showing people that these people can also, who might not necessarily have an area to talk about it. And actually, this might be a good idea for a podcast. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think a podcast would be fun? So yeah, but she doesn't. It is always about her. And what's funny to me is that she's gone from the one with archetypes, which again is wrong anyway, because she clearly didn't understand the true meaning of archetypes. And she brings on the celebrities that she could only manage to get. Anyone that was really big wasn't interested. So now she's gone from that to the Lemonada, which nobody has really heard of, and has the likes of Dylan Mulvaney, who is a trans influencer, I believe. So Dylan has kind of come up through social media and become fairly successful in what they do, and has now got this podcast with Lemonada. And if you and I wanted to sort of look at that in comparison to what Meghan's doing, and in comparison, Dylan doesn't make it all about themselves. Now, again, whether you like or don't like this person, it's not the point, because that's what all I'm trying to do is make that point of that's how, in a sense, how a podcast should be. It's in a way it's relatable because they're chatting with either their friends or people that are in the industry, and it's a two-way thing, and that's in a way that's how it works. Meghan uses these platforms to talk about herself because she doesn't have any other avenue to do that. She's not successful, even though I know her cult fan base want to state that she is. She isn't. She's literally gone back to the only thing that she knows because there's nothing else. Nobody else is interested in her. And so this is why she uses her Instagram to talk about herself. And of course, now she's putting out the videos in regards to some of the children. And if you look at Archie, as I've said before, he doesn't age. And I'm going to, again, I will be doing a video over on my Bitesize Tea to go into a little bit more length over there, because that way then I can spend the time just showing you the video that I found. Well, no, sorry, take that back. A video I was sent from one of you lovely subscribers. I don't want to take credit for that. And it was very interesting. So I'm going to show that over on my Bitesize Tea. Otherwise, like I say, these videos just get too long and waffly. But yeah, so she is now using her Instagram and her podcast to draw attention to herself. The issue that we have now is, well, we've had for a while, is that she is saturating the mainstream media. But this is what narcissists will do. And Meghan wants to eclipse people like the Kardashians. In her mind, if she has the media attention, to her, she's far more important than them. And she will see it that way. So in her mind, she will believe that people should want to have her name on their brand. Hence why when she tried to do that with Flamingo Estate and then they said no, this is why I believe she then almost tried to then sort of copy what they were doing, but not successfully. So this is what she will believe that she can do. She thinks that because she's in the media all the time, that it's people clearly must really like her. What she is failing to see is, firstly, that she has to buy, I would imagine, or her PR team are probably buying a lot of the media coverage, positive media coverage. But also, as I showed you on my other video, is that the click-through rate to search for her is pretty much non-existent. No one cares about her. No one is clicking her name to find out what's going on. So there is not an interest in her. So the only reason I believe that the mainstream media are doing what they're doing is because they know that articles, even though you're not searching for them, those articles get clicked on because people, there is a curiosity, but only when it's in front of someone. So for example, I never go on Google and go, Michael Meghan. I said Michael Meghan then. Michael Meghan. What was that? I never go on Google and search Meghan Markle. But when an article comes up and I see it, unless it's something that, I'm like, okay, I am really interested in that because that's something I want to talk about. And is there a source? Is there some evidence? So I will maybe click on it. Other than that, I don't. And that's, I think, what people do. And that's what the media knows. So that is where the interest is for her. It's not that people search for her, try to look at, they've got an interest in what is going on in her life. They don't care. But the fact is, the unfortunate thing is the media is the problem, because every time she posts, the media will put it in the mainstream news. Every time that she does something, her cookery show or whatever it is, the media, it's put in there. Now, whether that's paid for, which I imagine a lot of it is, it doesn't matter. So the media know that her name does get clicks, not because that people are searching for her. It's because it's the people, like I say, like myself, a lot of the time that see something and kind of go, oh, okay. So I do agree when people say, if you stop reading or stop looking, this will change. I do agree. But the problem you have is that we all have to do it. Not just one person. If I stop doing it, it's not going to make a jot of difference. And unfortunately, there are influencers who want to do this for the money. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not, I get paid for doing this. All right, not as much when I keep getting trolled, but, it is what it is. So it's a vicious cycle. But her interest is not genuine. People are not wanting to search for her because they care about her. So this shows you that her fan base is pretty much non-existent. The things that we see on social media are bots, and like I said, in their astroturfing accounts. They're not her fan base. There are a few, of course there are, but not anywhere near what people are alluding to. So the fact that she's put this podcast out and then she has done this shows you that this is what she's doing. She doesn't care about Whitney. She wasn't there really to even talk with Whitney about Whitney's experience. This was Whitney being brought in, and I imagine probably given a list of things to discuss, because funnily enough, Whitney then, like says, turns around and says, oh my God, I can't believe how hard it was for you and how you coped. And I don't necessarily think that that's something you would generally say, especially when you've just 2 seconds prior to that, in a sense, spoken about how you went through this. And then Meghan jumps in and says, oh, I went through that too. And then it's about her. So this should have been Meghan zipping it and being like, oh my gosh, how was that for you? You know, even when I have clients, you know, one of the things that they say to you with clients is don't self-disclose unless it helps. That would be about me discussing every aspect of my life with my client and going through all of the trauma that I've been through to, because then what will happen then is their client would necessarily then start worrying about me. You know, oh, I can't talk about that because you've gone through it. However, what you can do, which is what I will do at times, is if a client is going through something and they feel like they're wrong, or their experience, they're coming out with this negativity because they think and feel a certain way, I might then say, look, I want to really be honest and really congruent with you and say, I have had these feelings too. And what that says is, you're not alone. You're not alone in those feelings. You are not crazy. You are not a terrible person for thinking those things, because as a human being, our thought process is private. We are allowed to think and feel. The difference is what do you do about that? You know, if you're thinking horrible things about somebody because you're mad and you're internalizing it, then that's something for you to kind of work out within yourself. But then if you're then voicing, like we see again on the way that Meghan has behaved, if you're voicing those things and you're taking attention away from somebody who's going through something, then that is an issue. That's about you. You're not considering the other person. Meghan isn't considering her guest in that moment who's gone through something very scary with her pregnancy. And it could have been an amazing moment for her to come together and have this element of sisterhood and say, you know what, I want to give you that sort of space to really talk about this so we can show people that actually these things that are kept quiet. That's why a lot of time I mention the menopause. It's not because it's about me, but it's because I know a lot of the women here who watch my videos, or whether you're men that have got a wife that's going through that, it's showing you that we're not alone. You don't have to suffer in silence. You can talk about these things. It's okay. But Meghan doesn't do it in that way. It's always about intent. You know, when you intend to take attention from somebody, that shows you that that's a selfish thing to do. And this is why I struggle with her so much. And I believe this is why a lot of people struggle with her so much. But until the mainstream media stop talking about her, because they discuss her just because she's married to Harry and she is a member of the British royal family, because they don't discuss other celebrities in the same way. So the reason is simply that when they divorce, which I truly feel potentially will happen maybe when William is king, then maybe the mainstream media will talk less about her because she will not have so much relevance. Speaking of the British royal family, of course, the Prince and Princess of Wales are on holiday at the moment with their children. They are happily spending time, no risks there, just enjoy a family, enjoying themselves. So take that as you will. But also, I'm starting to see little drip feeds of media posts of this. And I am finding this very interesting. Now, I know a lot of people have said that if William, when he becomes king, removes their titles, because I absolutely believe they should be removed from the line of succession, it concerns me greatly that someone like Harry is still in the line of succession with Meghan as his wife. The thought of those two being here and being king, just no, I can't even say it. I can't. So I wonder if there have been talks. Now, I know it's not quite as simple as removing the titles. I get that. It has to be an act of parliament. But I do wonder if there's going to be discussions, because it's interesting that this is being circulated. And some people have, because I put it up on my Instagram, and some people have said they don't believe it's going to happen. And some people have said this needs to happen. And some people have said, I do believe it's going to happen. I actually do think it's going to happen. I think there is going to be a massive shake up when William becomes king and Catherine becomes queen. And I also know that I believe that William does see and listen to the public perhaps more than King Charles does. And I think a lot of the reason why, because some people have also said that this is unfair, this is not up to William, but I think that this potentially is William's idea. I don't actually think that King Charles has said, look, I'm leaving this to you, because I do think he's, especially now, he's a good father, and I don't think he would. But what I do feel is that King Charles's health is quite serious. I feel that we're not being told everything. And if he does this now, the backlash, especially on social media, is going to be huge. And given that maybe he hasn't got that long, and this is just my opinion, maybe William and Catherine have said, look, let's just not do anything right now whilst you're so poorly. And I don't think Camilla's very well either. Let's not have the last however long of your reign to be marred by, because let's look at what happened with the late Queen. It was marred by this whole racism thing. Let's not have that same thing happen again. I will deal with this, because as a son, like, I'm a daughter, and as much as I understand the anger from people, but you've got to remember this is still a family. And if this is me, I would want to protect my mum and dad. I wouldn't want to see them be absolutely hated. I wouldn't. And I would take the hit. I would take the hit all day long to protect my family, to protect my sons, to protect my mum and dad. I'd even do it to protect my friends. I just would. But so I think that that's what's happening here. And I don't blame him for that. Of course, it's not up to him, but I understand why, if this is what's happening, why he would say, I will sort this, because William's tough. And I also do believe Catherine is too. So I do feel that something's going to happen, because there is no way that William can be seeing all of this play out and believe that her getting away with things and the way that those two are behaving is okay. I think King Charles is still quite softer in that way, and I think he loves his son, but he's possibly just incredibly disappointed with him, doesn't particularly like the way he's behaving, and cannot trust him. That's a hard pill to swallow when this is your child, the child that you never thought would betray you in such a way. Whereas I think William is done. I imagine that he is done, and has probably completely switched off where he's concerned, and he's just like, I'm so done, don't care. And he hasn't probably got that emotional involvement, because his concern is Catherine, his children, and his immediate family that he really cares about. So this is why I do think that this is going to happen. And I truly feel that it will be the absolute best thing. Now, I know some people have said, but then she'll become Princess Henry of whatever, and she'll drop the Henry and become Princess Meghan. Yeah, she might do. But so what? At the end of the day, if she wants to flounce around America going, look at me, I'm a princess, that is up to her. Because in all fairness, she's not had much accolade being the Duchess of Sussex. And I do wonder if this is why she did this. I think that she knows, like I've said before, I do not believe that her and Harry are living together. I do feel that they're separated. They're just not divorced, but they just come together with the illusion of, we're still a happy family. And I think that's why she is also making it look that way on Instagram, because she knows that at the moment, no one's going to critique that, because no one else wants anyone to know those two are separated. So she's playing and toying with the royal family, toying with Harry, and that's why we're seeing the alleged children and all of that. But yeah, so I think she's playing a bit of a dangerous game, but I truly do believe that that's why she also did the Sussex thing on her cookery show, because I think she knows that they are going to remove that title. So now she's put it out there that she sees herself as Sussex. And that the children are Sussex, and this is a family name, and so it's hers. So yeah, I think that was a statement to the royal family, even though I don't believe the royal family absolutely like watch her cookery show. But of course it went into the mainstream media, so they know that this is why she's doing what she's doing. She doesn't do anything by chance, Meghan. Everything is manipulated, orchestrated for the maximum digs at Harry, digs at the royal family, to get maximum exposure. I imagine they rue the day when they allowed her into the royal family. I really, really do. And I imagine probably Harry even now. Not that I sympathise with Harry at all, because I think he does enough things on his own to warrant critiquing. But yeah, I genuinely do feel this. I don't believe that, like I say, that she suffered with this postpartum preeclampsia as much as I'll say I do not believe that she suffered a miscarriage. I just don't believe any of those things. And that might seem harsh given that I'm a therapist. But firstly, she's not my client. This is just me talking and using my expertise and knowledge. I know people, I know behaviour. And I do not believe anything that she says. Anything. And this is another one that I don't believe. I think this was just that she couldn't have someone having attention, and that being in the mainstream media, she needed to find a way to get into the mainstream media, and this is what she does. She either uses her Instagram, or she will take a story that's, I mean, do you remember when Amber Heard did that, when she took the story of her assistant who had gone through a serious assault, and she literally word for word copied the story and made it her own. So again, this is what narcissists do. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something else that you've come up with that I maybe haven't picked up on? Always, love reading your comments. It's great. All the links that you need to everything is in the description box. If you want to treat me to a cuppa, there is my Amazon wish list. If you want my PO box where you would like to write to me, please make use of that, because I do enjoy getting the letters. I used to get quite a lot of letters from you guys, and it was really lovely reading them, and I've kept every single one of them. Anything that I'm sent, I'm such a hoarder, I have kept. I don't throw anything away. And I also want to point, because this I forgot, I also want to show this as well, and I'm really sorry to the lovely lady who sent me this. Because I was doing my office, I put it away with the intention of showing it, but of course I then forgot that, and I just forgot. But as I was clearing more stuff, I found it. So this lovely lady made this for me, and it's got a teapot, and she said that this is similar to my eyes. So I just want to show this so you can see how beautiful is that. That is, to me, that's just so lovely. And I need to find I want to find a frame that I can put this in. So thank you to the lovely lady who made this for me. I'm going to put this up somewhere. I just not quite sure where yet, because what I don't want to do is start to become cluttered again, because that doesn't go well. But I do feel that I will put this up, because I think this is beautiful, and there's some lovely hard work. You put some hard work into this. So yeah, so thank you so much. So like I say, if you have a channel that you are trying to promote, please email me. If you have a small business and you want to generate some traffic to it, please email me, and I will help as much as I possibly can. If there's any way that I can help anyone, and I'm not saying you even have to send me something, it's not about that, it's about me helping you guys, because, well, that's what we should all be doing, supporting each other and paying it forward. So like I say, and thank you so much for joining up as members, treating me to cuppas to help support what I do in the free therapy program. I really, really do appreciate that. It's still starting to build as my views got a little bit better. I think I've gone back in again because my views have dropped suddenly again. So, but you know, I guess I'm just going to have to get used to that. And that's why I'm asking all of you to please manually check your subscriptions. Check when I have done a video. I do a video twice a week, pretty much all the time. It's either on a Monday and Tuesday or a Thursday or Friday. So if you haven't got a notification from me, if you haven't checked your notification bell and clicked all, then manually go and check to see if I have done a video, because I see so many comments where people are like, oh, I'm glad you're back, or oh, I've missed you. And I'm like, I haven't gone anywhere. I've been here. Like I say, don't forget to check out my Bitesize Tea channel if you want shorter videos, and I will be doing other people over there. I just haven't got around to doing that yet, but I will be focusing on other people on that particular channel. It's not just going to be about Harry and Meghan. I've just got to, I know that a lot of you have asked me about the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni situation. I'm kind of wanting to wait until the court case, or a little bit, because I do have an opinion on this, and I just don't think it's going to be a popular one, and I don't want to I want to make sure that I get my facts right before. So I'm researching, I am looking before I say anything, because I don't want to be wrong. So yeah, so I am hearing you. So if there's anyone else, then please let me know. And as always, you know, I love you and I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.